Welcome to this exciting episode of Delray Beach Historical Backroads. My name is Paula Newman Rocker, member of the Delray Beach Historical Society Board of Governors and president of the Carver High School Historical Preservation Society. And I'm a proud graduate of Carver High School, class of 1966. Today we are here to share the story of the illustrious George Washington Carver High School, the last legally black segregated school in Delray Beach. The history of this school is the history of Delray Beach, of community, resilience, and perseverance. Carver was the home of educational heroes, superstar athletes, and activists. It also represented what was happening in our nation and a complex history of segregation, integration, and the continued efforts to reconcile with our past. To truly understand the history of Carver, we have to go back, way back. By the 1880s, segregation was deeply rooted in the South. The Supreme Court declared the Civil Rights Act of 1875 unconstitutional and argued that the 14th Amendment did not ban discrimination based on race. In 1887, Florida passed some of the first laws regarding railroads to have separate cars for black and white passengers. A few years later, Louisiana passed the same law. That's where a man named Homer Plessy sat in a white-only car. When the Louisiana courts ruled against him, Plessy appealed to the Supreme Court, and the same Plessy versus Ferguson. In 1896, the court ruled separate but equal laws were constitutional and enshrined racial segregation into law. At the same time, a lot was happening in Delray. In 1894, black families from the Panhandle and the Bahamas became the first non-native settlers in Delray. They built churches, planted winter crops, and petitioned the school board to send teachers for their children. In 1895, the Palmetto Thatch Schoolhouse, known as School Number 4 Delray Colored, opened with 2 teachers, B.F. James and Francis J. Bright. In fact, this is the location of the original schoolhouse. But the school closed in 1907 due to what some accounts called low attendance. African American children were only permitted 6 months of education each year. Yet, during those 6 months, they were required to work in farm fields and in hotels. Others traveled with their families as migratory farm workers. Delray's black children would not receive formal public education for several years. But Delray's black community fought long and hard for its children's education. By 1917, the Delray Training School opened for black students, spearheaded by Delray farmer and activist William Robinson and Alabama educator Clarence C. Walker. The Delray Training School taught agriculture, home economics, woodworking, and metalworking. In 1921, Walker left Delray to establish other vocational schools in Florida and was replaced by Solomon D. Spady on the recommendation of Booker T. Washington, president of the Tuskegee Institute. Under Spady's leadership, the school expanded from 118 students to 336 students by 1934. 1937 was a pivotal year for the school. The Delray Training School moved to a new location on Northwest 8th Avenue, and it was finally renamed George Washington Carver High School, after the pioneering scientist and Spady's former classmate. The first graduating class in 1939 had 5 students. A new era dawned for Carver and Delray Beach in the 1940s, when educator and civil rights champion Charles Spencer Pompey started teaching and coaching at Carver High School. Pompey was popular not only with his students, but with his new community. He was known for his strong voice and for what he called shaking the bushes. In fact, almost as soon as Pompey arrived in Palm Beach County to teach, he started shaking the bushes and disrupting the status quo. In 1942, the school board approved raises of $25 per month, but only for white teachers. Pompey was furious. He was frustrated. He was angry. Pompey and two other teachers promptly filed a class action lawsuit against the school board and Superintendent John I. Leonard for equal pay. When the teachers reached out to the NAACP for help, the organization sent one of their best lawyers to argue and win the case. Who did they send, you ask? Only a young attorney named Thurgood Marshall. Yes, that Thurgood Marshall. The first African-American Supreme Court justice was instrumental in Palm Beach County's teachers earning equal pay. Marshall and the NAACP argued pay disparity cases all over Florida, fighting especially against separate but equal. By 1954, their experiences led them in front of the Supreme Court, where they argued a famous class action lawsuit against 5 school boards, better known as Brown versus Board of Education. In the landmark case, the court ruled unanimously to overturn separate but equal legislation. This was a victory for civil rights in America. Many schools, however, remained segregated, including in Delray Beach. Carver was the only school that served black students from Lake Osborne to Deerfield, including the western farming communities, or range line. Students were still banned from attending their local schools and were bused to the Carver campus. By 1961, there were 550 students at Carver. 1958 proved to be another critical year. Solomon Spady retired and left Carver High School with Anthony H. Holliday as principal.
I would like to express my sincere and profound appreciation for the loyalty, devotion, and deep concern which was so tangibly manifested by the students, parents, guardians, the press, and countless others, both nearby and from far off. I'm very happy to be back on the job.
The school relocated to a brand new campus on Southwest 12th Avenue and Southwest 4th Street. The school was designed by Gustav Moss Jr., an American architect famous for his designs of the landmarked Seaboard Airline Railroad Station in Delray Beach and Town Hall in Palm Beach. The school became its only sort of town hall for Delray's black community and was a central place for gatherings, celebrations, talent shows, and many other community events. Carver High School was also known for its sports teams. The Carver Eagles football team was undefeated in their 1950 season and won 2 consecutive Class B football titles in 1968 and 69. Carver's track teams won 29 conference championships, 6 regional championships, and 2 state championships. Carver sports were the heart of Delray Beach and truly embodied the town's spirit. The entire city gathered to watch Carver play and cheer on the Eagles in hometown matches and meets. Carver had major rivals, including Roosevelt High School in West Palm Beach and Blanche Ely in Pompano Beach. Even schools in Polk County played at Carver. Because segregated schools could only play each other, their games created a wider network of students and players throughout South Florida. By 1968, Brown versus Board finally reached the southern states, and school boards started mandating integration and closing black high schools. Many schools like Crispus Attucks in Hollywood and Roosevelt High School were downgraded to middle schools or vocational schools. Delray Beach schools began integrating in 1961 with Yvonne Lee's entrance into Seacrest High School. Delray Beach Junior High and Delray Beach Elementary integrated a few years later. The Palm Beach County School Board ordered Carver High School to close in 1970, and Carver's students were told they would integrate with Seacrest High School. Students, parents, and faculty were frustrated with the integration plan.
This is Eagles Field at Carver High School in Delray Beach. For the last 2 seasons, the Eagles have been state football champions. However, there will be no more state championships at this high school. That's because last week the Desegregation Center in Miami presented to the Palm Beach County School Board the plans for desegregating Palm Beach County schools.
When a student is entering a white school, they know the things that they will be going up against because of when a Negro student is in a minority of the student body, there isn't any way or chance that they probably could get a majority of possibilities of getting scholarships or even getting leadership in any of the organizations on a white campus.
Now this is a black community and the white man is going to come and take over. Now this doesn't have to be, because Carver could be phased out if they would stop busing the white kids past Carver and let it become integrated.
When the fully integrated Seacrest reopened as Atlantic High School, the new school bore Carver Eagles as the mascot and Seacrest's colors of green and white. Carver Middle School opened in the 12th Avenue campus in 1970 before moving to Barwick Road in 1994. The school district then opened the Delray Full Service Center, a vocational and adult education school, which now partially occupies the last 3 original buildings of the 1958 campus. What began as a one-room schoolhouse in the middle of nowhere became a leading institution for education, sports, and community service. Thank you for joining me today, and stay tuned for the next edition of Delray Beach Historical Backroads.